Kamen Rider Gotchard has just premiered. The next entry in the Kamen Rider series has dropped online. And before we continue on with this video, I just want to say hello there. I am Ash, also known as Deoxy360. I mostly cover Power Rangers on the channel, but on the side, I also review Rider and Sentai. So in this video, we'll be reviewing, recapping, discussing, rambling on about Kamen Rider Gotchard Episode 1 and go over the episode and have a little bit of a discussion about it. So if you like that, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And I hope you will join me as we cover Kamen Rider Gotchard for the next year, but hopefully also you guys enjoy the other stuff that I'm putting out on the channel. So without any further ado, let's get into Kamen Rider Gotchard Episode 1. So the theme of Kamen Rider Gotchard is alchemy and trading cards. Well, the gimmick is trading cards, but the theme of the show is alchemy. And within the first couple of minutes of this first episode, you see someone being hunted by these three mysterious sisters to show how much of a threat they're going to be, and they're going to be the main villains of the series. But you get to see their power and what they can do with alchemy as they're able to shatter lights and then turn them into spears. It's some really cool stuff that you see visually with their powers and what they can do in the show. But the character being hunted down soon sends the cards off into the real world so they can find the chosen one, that being our main protagonist of this series, Hotaru Ichinose. So Hotaru Ichinose, whatever you want to call him, he is a high school student. He's very upbeat, very chipper. He's always trying new things. He's helping with the family kitchen, with the restaurant, as he's sort of trying new dishes out. But he doesn't know what he wants to do as a career path. So I get the feeling as the show moves on and as the show progresses, we're going to have Ichinose find... I'll just call him Hotaru. Ichinose sounds weird. Hotaru is trying to find his sort of career goal that he wants to do in the future, and because he wrote down his career goal blank, it shows that he doesn't honestly know what he probably wants to do in the future, and that probably being that you'll find out as the show goes on. So we'll probably get that as the show keeps. Now in this episode, we're also introduced to Rin Kudo, the classmate of Hotaru in this episode, and she's a bit of a mystery. She can use a magical ring to create alchemy, but not only that, she seems to have knowledge of the Chemi cards, which is something I want to talk about with the Chemi monsters in this episode, because they have their debut. You've got Hopper 1 and you've got the Steamliner card, the big train, and it looks like that the monsters that come out of these cards are basically Pokemon. They only say their names and they repeat it a fair bit, and to be honest, it did get old fast. As much as cute Hopper 1 can be with him jumping around and having that cute little voice, it does get a little bit annoying after time, especially the train one where he just keeps repeating steam all over again, and he just keeps saying that again and again and again. So it looks like a lot of these cards are going to be like Pokemon, where they can only say their names, which I do wonder what like voice actors they're going to get when it comes to these cards repeating their names over and over again. They'll probably be just like mostly cast and crew, but I do wonder if we're going to have any special guest roles to sort of be the Pokemons of these Chemi cards that can only say their names. But either way, you get some really cool designs with these cards. You get to see the Hopper one, which is a really cute grasshopper. I really do like the 3D model. I think they're probably releasing a toy of that in the nearby future. And then the train, I feel like the train has a really cool design as well, because in this episode they were trying to stop it and it just keeps chugging along, and eventually Hotaru is eaten up by the train, and that's where he meets the mysterious character at the start of the episode who was being chased by the three villains, and they want to bring despair in the world with the driver. But Hotaru is given the driver, and he's chosen to be Kamen Rider Gotchard by this mysterious character. So this mysterious character is letting him choose to be a rider in the end. So we've got that. After that, we then soon eventually get our fight between our hero and the villain, as we see one of the sisters able to absorb the powers of the cards to transform into the monster of the week. So it looks like that's how they'll be transforming and utilizing the cards' powers in this episode. So she turns into a grasshopper, and we get a pretty good fight in this episode between the two of them. Although the transformation to turn into Gotchard was pretty cool. It's like a whole transformation sequence they do in this first episode where he goes into sort of like a test tube, and then he comes out of it. You've got all the alchemy symbols around him and stuff like that. It's a really cool transformation sequence, and it reminded me like of a Sentai transformation sequence with how flashy it looked and how cool it looked. And it was great to see like a transformation sequence in this episode, as I feel like when it was Gates, they would just quickly turn into the rider, but in this one you get a full transformation sequence when they henshin, so that was cool to see, but when Gotchard first transforms, combining the cards, he does turn into sort of this hybrid grasshopper of his form, but then eventually he turns into the actual suit. Now, the suit for Gotchard I really do like, it looks really sleek, really smooth. I do dig the goggles. Seeing it finally that wasn't in the trailer, like we actually get some screen time with the suit. The suit has this really nice chrome going on with it that makes it shine and like stand out, and the shine that they've got going on with the suit when it comes to the chrome for the blue looks really freaking nice. With some shots that they do filming it outside in the daylight, it looks really freaking nice. So the suit does have a lot of appeal to it with the shininess and the sleekness it's got to it. I am digging like the blue chrome that it's got going on for those parts. Now, jumping back to the fight scene that we had with the grasshopper monster in this episode, there was some really cool fight coordination with Gotchard and the grasshopper monster in this episode. There's a moment where it sort of jumps to a different scene where it's nothing but smoke in the background, so you've sort of got them fighting with a smoke machine going on and sort of all this smoke behind him, and it was filmed really well with the fight coordination and everything going on. And then not only that, they sort of utilize the outdoors area where they're filming sort of around the school area for the fight scene. So we got some really good fights in this episode as Gotchard had his first moment, and his debut was pretty cool. Like, it was pretty great because you get to see him move around as light as a feather, as Hotaru said, so he's like really light on his feet, and he seemed to adapt well to the fighting style while getting these new powers, so that was great to see. It wasn't wacky, goofy, silly fun where he couldn't control the powers at first. It seemed like once he was like transformed and ready to go, he was jumping right in it and throwing punches, although he did get knocked around a bit in this episode. So we had that going on. So the monster's defeated, and then suddenly you soon find out that when the Kemi cards are defeated, then anyone who came in contact with them loses their memories about them. That being Kotaro's friend, who ran into the steam train earlier, who tried taking a photo of it, but it wasn't there or he couldn't see it. So you have that in the end, where if anyone comes in contact with these monsters of the week or these cards, then they lose their memories about it. So that's sort of like the rule that they've established in this show from episode 1. So I do wonder how long that rule is going to stay for, as they defeat each of the monsters each week and sort of start capturing them. So we'll have that going on as they were scattered, because that's something I kind of skipped over as well. Like when Hotaru was given the driver, all the cards were sort of scattered across Japan and Tokyo and the world, and they've got to find them. So there's going to be that premise of the show, because you get to see all the cards sort of like jumping around the place and saying their names, and they're sort of causing havoc. So no doubt about it, through each week we're going to be capturing each of the cards. So we then find out that Hotaro's teacher, Minato, is a part of the Alchemy Academy, something we'll probably learn about more in next week's episode, because there's a line where Rin is sort of doing a career that is sort of passed down the family line, that being alchemy, which we saw a little bit in this episode where she was able to rise up and sort of walk through a wall and turn it into a door. But yeah, we'll probably learn more about this Alchemy Academy next week as we sort of set up the lore and information for that part of the show moving forward. But overall, Kamen Rider Gotchard episode 1, I feel like it had an interesting first impression. I feel like it's got my attention, and I'm definitely going to keep watching it moving forward. But I do wonder what's going to happen with the characters. It does look like with our villain trio, it looks like the small child one is sort of like the leader of the bunch and the one calling the shots, because they're the ones giving the orders, and they're the ones who are talking about despair and darkness and stuff like that, and they were the ones sort of going on the attack with the alchemy stuff against the person who gave Hotaru the driver. So they're probably like the big bad, I say with quotation marks for now, unless there's a bigger threat out there. Now, as for Hotaru as a character, Hotaru Ichino's, I feel like he's going to take a while for me to warm up to, because he is very cheerful, he is very happy, and he wants to be friends with everyone, and his catchphrase is Gotchard, and his whole journey through the show is probably going to be a coming-of-age story where he wants to find out what he wants to do in his life, where he wants to go, and he's probably going to be making his way graduating through high school as this show progresses. So Hotaru isn't a bad character or a bad writer protagonist from what we've seen so far. I know we're only one episode in, but I feel like he's probably going to have to grow on me with his happy-go-lucky attitude, which doesn't bother me when it comes to writer characters or Sentai characters. I mean, we get them a lot before, but I'm hoping that he isn't too naive and he's going to sort of get tricked or sort of learn about everything and everyone as each episode goes on. I'm hoping it's some good growth as the episodes progress. But that was episode 1 of Kamen Rider Gotchard. What did you guys think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. With that said, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Take care. Bye.